of gypsy life. What I'm going to tell my story. A lot of people around the world, my following for the past 18 or so years, they really are intrigued about, the gypsy life. I think that's kind of everyone's dream to actually be able to see the world, and people spend a whole year at work building up vacation time to go out and spend a week or two in some other land. I don't think that's enough. I don't think we as human beings were built to sit in a cubicle and see the same thing. I think that's why a lot of us get bored. But I'm going to start off with my childhood in 1963. I'm old. Started off in Oklahoma, living in Langston, Oklahoma. Langston, Oklahoma, it has this monument there called the Trail of Tears, where Indians would march to their death, and they went right through the center of Oklahoma. That's where I grew up, and that's where my story starts. I, as a child, really didn't understand what racism was. I didn't understand my color. And if you look at me, I'm not the darkest crayon in the box. But what I've realized over the years, you only know what you know. And sometimes you don't have enough information to calculate what's going on. So I'm going to tell a story from my perspective, and hopefully you guys will find that a little interesting. As I grew up on a farm, I lived basically in a situation where I didn't have any neighbors for miles. And the neighbors that were around us, we got up in the morning, we all had a hard life. When I say hard, we had things to do. Cattle, feed, crops, school. And all of a sudden, I graduated and went out to see this big and beautiful new world. My family didn't have the money to send me to school, so I didn't know what to do. So I joined the military to, bide me some time and to, kind of figure out what I wanted to do. So I joined the military and I went to basic training at Fort Dix, New Jersey. I was so excited. At this time, 1982, 83, this is when Run DMC and Michael Jackson were huge. And I really, on the farm, my grandfather, he was a cowboy, and he listened to Charlie Pride, Kiss an Angel, Good Morning. That's all I grew up with. That's all I knew. And when I hit the real world and I heard this music, it was like I was leashed into this brand new, black hole and came out the other side in this new world. I was so excited. I came back home. I went to my high school, and my wrestling coach and some of the, the sophomores and juniors. I was, there to explain all the stuff that I seen, and they looked at me, and they basically said, "If you like it so much, why don't you go back?" I did not understand that. So my whole life started a huge transformation from that point, because the people that I thought were my best friend, the people that I thought that I was close to, the people that I played football with and formed a relationship with and, hung out with in school and after school, projects, they didn't even know me. They knew nothing of me. They didn't care anything about me. So I decided to, absorb all the things that the Army had to deliver, and I went overseas. Oh my God. To me, that was a huge change, but I'm not going to get deep into that, because throughout the years, whenever I talk so highly of another country, it's a real turnoff, and it seems very unpatriotic, and I'm not here to put one side or the other against one another. What I'm here to do is just tell my story. Excuse me. So when I joined the military, the first thing that I did when I got there is I picked up a camera, and I wanted to bring back these memories that, to prove that I was there. You okay?
I'm sharing the live video on Facebook, on my Facebook.
started to capture memories and to prove to people. And that's one thing as an African American, is that you grow up. My grandfather used to always tell me, you have to work 10 times harder than the white man in order to be successful and get people to look at you and hire you. So that's how I grew up. And every professor, every teacher, they all say the same thing. Oh yeah, it's a bad thing, and we know that that's horrible, but that's the way it is, and and there's nothing we can do about it. Until I went to Germany, and I'll never forget that I was treated so well there. And I was working for this German company, and my boss found me working through my breaks, and I really loved that place. People treated me so well, I wanted to stay. So he cornered me one day and he said, "Hey, Mr. Coleman, why are you working through your breaks? You need to take a rest, and so you can be more productive." And I explained to him what my grandfather told me, and he looked at me with such disgust, and he said, "I'm disappointed with you." And I was like, "Oh man, what did I do? I'm gonna get fired." And he said, "You mean to tell me that you're thinking that you're 10 times worse than everybody else before they even meet you? You are telling yourself this? This is not healthy." That was the first time that I really thought about that, and it really made sense to me from that point forward. So I'm not going to make this long and drawn out. I'm going to cut it here, and I'm going to every day about this time or somewhere around this time, I'm going to go ahead and pick up where I left off. And if anyone has any questions or anything like that, please, I'll add them to my next episode. Please share these if you could. Thanks a lot, ladies and gentlemen, for listening. Have a nice, wonderful day.